On October 30th, 1938, Orson Welles brought terror to American households with his radio adaptation of H.G. Wells's War of the Worlds. Presented as a news bulletin, the broadcast depicted a Martian invasion in New Jersey, complete with realistic reports of chaos. Many listeners, tuning in late, believed the fictional account was real, triggering widespread panic. People fled their homes, and some even sought safety in churches. The broadcast highlighted the power of media and raised questions about the responsibility of journalists. While the panic was exaggerated, it marked a pivotal moment in how radio influenced public perception, paving the way for modern media ethics and regulations. On October 30th, 1938,
Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is Thamayim in Atlanta, and I wanted to go or take a look into War of the Worlds and coincide it with this so-called drone thing that's going on up in New Jersey and then in other states as well. And so, starting out, we've got the story of the War of the Worlds. And this was read by Orson Welles back in 1938, I believe. And this invasion, he said, started in New Jersey. And currently we have what's going on now in New Jersey with these drones. And actually, before we get too far, let's hit a scripture. This is 2 Corinthians 2 and verse 11. It says, "Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices." And not the Lord, but Satan, through his people, the Edomites, they use the media as a way to deceive. And even as far back as when it was just radio, they were deceiving through that. And so you've got what happened back then, in which there was a read over the radio that there was a Mars attack going on in New Jersey. And so this is from ABC7ny.com. This is War of the Worlds, when Martians invaded New Jersey. And this came out October 30th of 2023. But it says, Grover's Mill, New Jersey, on October 30th of 1938, Orson Welles and his Mercury Theater broadcast the infamous War of the Worlds on the CBS radio network, reporting that aliens had invaded Grover's Mill, New Jersey. The next day, headlines told of mass hysteria across the nation after listeners mistook the radio drama for breaking news coverage of a Martian attack. The broadcast sounded all too real, with live music interrupted by news flashes that culminated in a horrifying event at Grover's Mill, New Jersey. And so, I find it interesting that all of these things, or that War of the Worlds started in New Jersey, this being the old one, and even the new one with Tom Cruise that's based in New Jersey. And then you have these drones where this started from New Jersey. And this is all currently going on. It's going across multiple states. I believe it's Esau trying to cover up the actual chariots of the Lord that have entered into the house of the thief, and they're trying to put drones out there to, control the narrative and add their own confusion like they usually do. But all this goes back to Orson Welles. And Esau uses what's called revelation of the method, in which they'll slightly tell you what their plans are, all to thwart karmic retribution, but all these things are going to come back onto them. And so let's get the meaning of that word Grover, because in the story this happened in Grover Grover's Mill. And so the word Grover, and this is just from the AI overview on Google, says the name Grover comes from the Old English word graph, which means grove or thicket. And in the scriptures, idolatry happens within the groves. It says it was originally a surname for people who lived near or worked in a grove, a small wood or forested area. The name became popular in the United States during the presidency of Grover Cleveland. But it's basically where the idolaters go. So you've got grove right here. And just a couple examples. Judges 3 and 7. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord Yahweh and forgot the Lord Yahweh their power, and served Balaam and the groves. And then you see the kings would come in and cut down the groves, because that's where people were out there doing idolatry. 1 Kings 14 and 23. For they also built them high places, somewhere they go and practice idolatry, and images, those being idols, and groves on every high hill and under every green tree. And so I thought that name Grover's Mill was interesting, because it's where these deceivers are that are deceiving the public through these deceptions that they have. One being this so-called alien invasion or Martian invasion. A lot of that stuff, the alien hysteria and Martian hysteria, got started with War of the Worlds. And that was one of the ways in which Esau was able to make the people think that these are actual aliens or Martians rather than the angels of the Lord, in which that's what they are. They're not. There's no Martians coming to get the people. There's no aliens coming. It's the angels of the Lord. Let's go to Matthew 24 and verse 4. And it said, And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. And we're seeing some deception by the Edomites as they try to say that these are drones. And who knows what else they could be setting up. There's a thing called Project Bluebeam, in which they have plans to or you hear it's to fake an invasion. And so these are deceptions that are up Esau's sleeve. Esau being the so-called Caucasians and the small hatters. Those, for the most part, those are the Edomites, the people of Satan, and they come in all deceivableness. And then jumping down to Matthew 24 and 24. For there shall arise false anointeds and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders. And these signs and wonders could be Project Bluebeam, these drones they have, and whatever other left-hand technology that they have to try to throw confusion into the arrival of the Lord. It says, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. And they're trying through their media and through their technology and just through their outright lies that they've been putting out for so long. They're trying to deceive everyone, but the elect will not be deceived, because we know Satan's devices. And you just don't trust the Edomites. There's nothing to be trusted from them. They've lied about history. They've lied about the Lord. They've lied about the angels, considering that they either call the angels little babies, little Edomite babies, or they call them aliens and Martians. They've lied about everything. But all this lying is actually, it's going to turn around on them. But first, let's hit Ephesians 4 and 14. It says that we henceforth be no more tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of man and cunning craftiness. Because we were all at one point under Esau's spell, under all his enchantments, and actually believing that these were actual aliens coming back or coming to the earth. But when in fact these are the angels of the Lord, and these angels, these crafts of the Lord, these chariots, they're here for the salvation of the elect, or the deliverance of the elect, but they're here for the destruction of the wicked starting with the Edomites. It says, whereby they lie in wait to deceive, and they have been deceiving and deceiving and deceiving. But as we know, the deceived and the deceiver are in the Lord's hand. And this is all working to reveal the Edomites, because they're digging a pit, but they're going to fall into it themselves. This is 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, and the elect will not be deceived. It says, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. And these are the Israelites falling away from their heritage, and that the man of sin be revealed. Because the Edomites, the wicked, the men of sin, they stepped into the place of the Israelites. They have their replacement theology and their supersessionism, in which they believe the church, which this church or Edomites, have taken the place of the actual Israelites. And then they've placed a people in the Lord's land as well, and call them the Lord's people when they're actually the men of sin, the sons of perdition. It says, and that the man of sin be revealed. These are the Edomites, the so-called Caucasians, and those small hatters, the 1948ers. It says, the son of perdition, going into destruction, because they're appointed to be destroyed. It says, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped. And they're completely adverse to the Lord's ways. They do everything the opposite. They say the laws are done away with. They put up a image of the Lord that is not what the scriptures say he looked like. They put up an image of themselves, basically. And a picture says 1,000 words. And that's how they've been able to deceive for so long. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, because they have a God complex, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. And that's that image that they show of the Lord being a so-called white man, his son being a so-called white man, the angels being so-called white men or white babies or aliens. And these images of the Lord and his son and his people that they show being so-called white people, these sit in these temples. But the Lord is not in those temples. He doesn't dwell there. But jumping down to verse 7, it says, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Because the Romans were in power at this point. Only he who now letteth will let, being the Most High, until he be taken out of the way. So the word has to come from the Lord, and he does everything in measures. And then shall that wicked be revealed. It's just that wicked being the Edomites. You could go to Malachi 1 and 4 to see who the wicked are. Whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. So it's coming out through his prophets. And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan. Satan being the adversary with all power. And also showing Satan has a people. Because it's these people that come after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. And these drones being put up currently are a lying wonder. They're media that they use to push out War of the Worlds, to get a lot of this UFO mania and alien mania, and just having the idea of these being aliens pushed into your head. These are signs of lying wonders, and that's what they do. And this is going to eventually backfire on them and show that they are the wicked, that they are tricksters, and that they're nothing but deceivers, because they could have told the people that these are the angels. That would calm a lot of people down, but they're keeping the people in fear. Verse 10, and it says, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And Esau has deceived so many people that they're completely blinded to the truth of the scriptures, the truth of the world that we live in, and just the truth all around. Because these are not aliens. These are not, there's nothing, or for the elect, it's not an evil purpose, but for the wicked, it will be evil unto them. Revelation 12 and verse 9, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan. And the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. This is speaking of the Edomites and their power structure. It all being taken down because they've been corrupting the world since the beginning. As the serpent in the garden, and it's grown up all the way into a great dragon. So it's got even more deception under their wings. But these are the Edomites, the so-called Caucasians, and the so-called small hatters. That's what makes up Idumea, which is the Greek way of saying Edom. And Edom means red. And it says, which deceiveth the whole world. And they do. They have, they've, through their media and the likes of E.T. and War of the Worlds and Aliens and so on and so forth, they put out tons of media in which they have basically taken the minds of these people, making them think that there's possible aliens out there, or that those chariots aren't actually the angels. They've deceived the whole world, and they have more up their sleeve. They have more deception to come, especially as their world and their power wanes. They're going to try and fight to stay in position, but it's not going to work. As it says, he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Because they're in their heaven currently. They're in their power, but they're going to be cast down out of power. And this is all happening right here before our eyes. And Lord will, we actually get to see the downfall of our enemies, because the earth will be just better off in every way with them out of power. And so, Lord willing, you found that edifying. I thought it was interesting to see that a lot of this stuff within War of the Worlds started in New Jersey, and now we have drones in New Jersey with a lot of chariot sightings within there. And yeah, Lord willing, that was edifying. So I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.